My brother Jesse. How we
What's
feeling today?
happening, my brother? What's happening? As you were just saying in pre-production, a lot going on in the world, a lot to get to.
That's real, man. But we're blessed and highly favored here at the asset class. We got a lot of actionable information that we want to get into. So I'm gonna hit you guys with the disclaimer. We're gonna tell you who we are, what we do, and it'll give you the optionality if you want to listen and learn and tap in with us. So look, we are both professionals, and what we're doing here at the Asset Class is giving you actual information. So we highly advise you to always work with licensed professionals with a track record of success. The other thing you have to couple with that is doing your own research. Because as we learn more, each one, reach one, teach one, because that's how we learn and grow as a community. Look,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Look, guys, I'm the managing partner at Tax Erasers. The fastest way to double your wealth is to cut that tax liability in half. And I got my co-host, co-founder here of the asset class, Jesse. Jesse, tell these people what you do.
Absolutely. So we focus on building businesses from the ground up, from the top line to the bottom line, and everything in between by building systems and processes that enable the businesses to continue to scale in the amount of demand that they can service and employees that they can take on. Because at the end of the day, small businesses are the backbone of this country. So, we are the employers of our community. We are the empowerers of our communities as small business owners, and turning that hustle into a business with true market value is what we do at Bullseye Consulting.
Uh, and look, we got so much to get into, so much going on in socioeconomics, but I want to throw out something that I don't know if you're aware of. Right now, I'm taking a class because I'm always taking a class, always getting a certification. I'm getting CDFI certified right now. So I had my class right before this. That is um, community driven financial development institutions. And
Ah, okay.
and with that, I've learned some phenomenal game just in day one already. I already knew it was a great source to be able to pick up capital for a business because a lot of times their interest rate is 3% or lower on the money. There is nowhere I can take a client right now and get them 3% capital. SBA is still going to be in the teens. It might be 10.9, but that's a teenager. So getting people 3% and in some cases 0% to be able to get their capital. The other thing that I learned is that I have the option to become a lending entity where I can get a grant from the government and then I can divvy that money out to different businesses and causes that I see fit. Phenomenal. So my mind was blown on day one. I was assuming when you go and get these certs, people give you a little bit of game. They're like, oh, this is where it came from. This is where it's going. These are the trends. These are the numbers. Now, that was like in the first 10 minutes. It's just like, what? So this is different. So with that, I think it's going to be amazing as I get this stuff working, what we can do with Black Chamber, what we can do with other chambers, and just really put people in a position to win. Because if you can get 0% APR money on a sound business idea, okay, this is not could have been records. All right, shout out to Drewski. This isn't that. On a sound plan where you have an idea where cash flow is going, where you're not just the lazy person that goes on Shark Tank and says, if we capture 1% of this $1 trillion market, you see how much money we're going to make? What is your business plan to capture 1%? Mr. Wonderful's out. You have to have real frameworks. And that's what Jesse builds for people. I don't build that for people. Okay. That's what Jesse builds for people. But when you build that stuff and you get cooking, I'll get you capital, I'll get you retirement plans, and I'll get you an estate plan. So You have no liability, so you can scale this thing, and we can force 2 or 3 generations of wealth on your family. Whether they want it or not, the money is coming. And I
Yeah.
say all that to say we have a beautiful symbiotic relationship working together. Um, have you ever heard of that type of funding before?
Not so that's actually what I was circling back around to. So that certification, it's a certification that you're studying for again?
Yep,
The C is CC, what was it again?
CDFI.
CDFI. Man, brother, you how did that one land on your plate? Because I know you're also going for the business continuity
Yeah, the SEPA.
SEPA. SEPA.
Yeah, Certified
So,
Exit Planning Advisor.
yeah. Yeah,
This
yeah,
one
yeah.
fell on my lap because I have an associate. Uh, he makes great products out there in the market and whatnot. He really likes to give back to the community. He came up with a product about 2 years ago. So I kind of knew of him, but he was featured as a spotlight trainer in one of my mentorships. That is another clue. Tap into great mentorships. That doesn't mean you need to necessarily give somebody 75,000, 50,000. The best mentorship I've ever been in is it's $50 per month. And it is the value is bananas. You know, to get some extra features, it's 100 a month. So I'm paying 100 a month for this. He's the featured speaker. And what he and his then partner were doing was a system to get live hot leads. So it was a way to turn whatever demographic you want into hot leads where you had enough information on the person where you knew how much money they made, where they lived, where they worked. So you could call them and say, hey, I'm this person. I know you live here and here. I know you make this amount of money. You got all your public records out here. And that's how I was able to call you and know all of this. I could tell you who your wife is, who your kids are, and everything. If I help you get a trust, I could be the last person to know all that stuff besides you and your accountant.
Ah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
So I wanted that system. And then by the time I got my nickels together to purchase it, this gentleman was very sick. He ended up getting cancer. So the other partner started doing other stuff. And, you know, I tapped in with him to see if he was healing. He changed his food up. He's healthy. And he's like, hey, by the way, are you interested in this and this and this? Actually, I'm not. That's not on my palette. But then about 2 months later, I see tap in with him. Are you interested in this? Absolutely. So that's another thing. That's another clue, y'all. You have to have a network that is bigger than your client base. It has to be bigger than your prospect base. You have to know people, tap in with people, care about people, and help people without looking for an immediate kickback in income. Because if you're that person with commission breath, it stinks. And people know right away that you are only talking to them because you're looking to grow your wealth. We are business owners. This podcast is called what? The
Asset
asset class?
class, baby. Yeah.
We're all about assets. However, assets are not just material things. Human capital, my brother talks about it all the time. What you invest in relationships and the frameworks that you make to guide people is ultimately what is going to decide your amount of wealth.
Right, right. No, so leading with value and being intentional about providing value, like it's a it's it's just like intrinsically it's programmed into me that when I walk into a room, when I enter a conversation,
Hmm.
I'm seeking to provide value because otherwise, like, why am I there? Sometimes the value is to truly have a just an open ear to whatever it is that the person that you're talking to is growing through, just to be able to help them through that process. It's all of the investment that I've made into myself that when we start having conversations, I'm able to draw from that and provide value. And it's not like, because one thing that I've learned from doing the consulting thing is when it comes to human psychology, you can't force nobody to do nothing. You know, like they have to see and recognize that they have a problem and choose to do something about it. So, and walking into a conversation and intentionally wanting to provide value, you know, asking the right questions to get people kind of open and thinking about the value that you've invested into becoming who you are. And
Can
like
I hop in there real quick?
Yeah,
Like, I
please
think
do.
that's huge, bro. When I've gone to some of the best sales training in the world, like name somebody that's an immaculate sales trainer, I've been to their training. Whether it's Tony Robbins, whether it's your Grant Cardones, and Andy Elliott, like I can go on and on and on. These different folks, I've got to learn a lot from them. Jim Rohn. When you start performing at a high level and you're in a sales position and you go to like the top level elite training where it's you're the only person from your region that gets to go, it's like 6 of y'all on a private jet. It's all about questions. They're not telling you to tell people different things. They are coaching you to ask better questions and to be Socratic, to never ask yes, no questions, to ask questions in a manner that is guiding this client through the experience that you are controlling. And because we are good people and we're not manipulators, we're doing this for their best interests. We're doing it for their best interest and not just ours. So I just had to hop in there and say that because people don't get how powerful questions are, bro. So you are adding value by asking questions when you come in the room.
100%. And those questions are always asked in the context of where you're intending to take that person on a journey of their own evolution. You know, like when and I've seen you do this on multiple occasions with folks where, you know, we're having a conversation and before they know it, they getting educated on how to really increase their net worth, their self-worth, you know, their mental worth, their spiritual worth. And it's not like a, you know, I'm holding my medallion of Africa preaching at you situation. It's genuine connection. It's a genuine desire to provide value. It's a genuine intent to be of service to others. And by leading with that intent of just like service and providing value, the opportunities that come back as a result of genuinely leading with that, like not leading with it with the intent of, well, I know that I'm going to close this deal by leaning in. No, by being genuine of service and providing value, what returns as a result of that is immeasurable. You know what I mean? Like it's leading with the right intentions, being intentional about providing value. And I think that that's so critically important in the times that we are in right now.
Yeah, well, first, I appreciate the compliment, my brother. I definitely see you work that black magic, and I mean it in the best way possible, where you are shifting someone's whole paradigm on how a business should work. Because I see it in their mind where they go, damn, I do have a hustle. I don't have a business. And then when they realize that they don't have a business, they start asking you better questions, which ultimately leads you to serving them. And that's where your service is built around. Because at the end of the day, you want this business to scale, to hire more employees, for the employees to make more money, and for that owner to work less hours and travel and really be able to put time into what really gets their heart going instead of the BS that they're doing because they won't release control. So people have to understand it's both and that you are serving these folks and you are increasing your own personal capital and your own net worth by doing the right things for folks. I hope that nobody misses that when we said we are adding value, and then we immediately said we're asking questions. One of the things that I check myself on probably every quarter, I look at how successful I am prospecting people. And then I'm just like, okay, how
do you define prospecting?
So I'm having a conversation with someone who could qualify as a candidate in my business. So we are talking, we're getting to know each other. First, I got to know that I like your energy. We got to start there. Second, we don't have to agree politically. We don't have to agree spiritually. You just can't be a trash can person. Because I don't want to do nothing for you. I don't want to help the trash can man get rich. Not at all. And that's not a shot at people in waste management. That is one of the best businesses you can own. Very few working parts. People always have trash. It's a phenomenal business. But I don't want to make bad people wealthy. And once I get there and I see that they are next, open-minded, they're not someone who just knows everything under the sun. Because I also do not want to work with that person. I can't tell you how many times I had to curse people out when it was just retirement. And it's some guy who lost a bunch of money in the stock market. And then I lay out a plan for him. And he's like, well, this is what I want to do. And this is what I like. And this. And I'm just like, I'll reframe once. I don't go straight pit bull. But I'm like, okay, I can understand why you like that. Let me explain why I made this plan. No. You don't understand what I like. And that's when I'm like, hey, quick question. How much money did you lose last year? $300,000? Word. Guess who didn't lose $300,000 or $1 million or millions of dollars for my clients? Me. If I wanted to lose $300,000, I would ask you how to make a portfolio. So if you would like to take that $300,000 and turn it into $600,000, please continue to tell me your ideas. I'm all ears. Or you can see what I prepared for you, or you can leave. And I was like, nah, you can get the hell up out of here. And more swear words than that. I'm just like, you're crazy. I'm like, I hope you go for the record and lose 500,000 this year. And then they sit down and they're like, you're right. I need to check my ego. Please, I'm open to listening. They needed that pushback. There are people who have never had help. And that's why it's hard for Jesse to help them. And it could be hard for me to help them. Like, there's a part of their brain that says you don't know it all, but there's another bigger part that says just keep going forward. It's always worked out for you. Now, once I get that part, they're also open-minded. Then I'm just like, okay, there's a high probability this person could be a prospect. So then I'm trying to qualify them, see how much money they're making. If you're not making money, you don't have tax problems. I had a gal, I had to change the qualifications on my calendar because she books a meeting and she's like, these taxes are killing me. I'm bleeding money. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, 40, 50,000, 100,000, $1 million. She's like, yeah, I flipped all these properties and I'm bleeding money. I'm like, okay, you said you were getting killed on taxes, right? Yeah, getting killed. How much did you pay? She's like, I paid, you're not going to believe it. I paid $2. I was like, $2 million? She's like, no. 200,000? No. $2,000. Paid $2,000. I can't believe it. They're trying to run. I'm like, how much did you make? She's like, well, I made 45 here and I did this here. And then I had a loss from last year. So it's pretty much what I paid. And I want to get that to zero. Ma'am, you do not have a tax problem. You have the opportunity to make money. So I want you to scale this up and call me back next year when you make six
Right.
figures in your business, because then you're going to be looking at a $30,000-$40,000 tax problem. And that is something where if I help you with it and I charge you to help you, there's enough meat on the bone for both of us to win. With the 2000, I just gave her a strategy. I was like, hey, do this, document it, use this form. You can put in QuickBooks. This is for the love of the game, okay? And she's like, oh, thank you so much. So assuming that the prospective person qualifies for my services, then the next thing is looking at the emotional driver for them. When it comes to taxes, no one wants to do anything if they don't have pain. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. We had a gentleman whose dad left him one heck of a trust. He's pulling enough money a year where he's paying $3 million in taxes every year. We throw together a plan for him. I say throw together, but it's very precise. We show him we're moving you from $3 million a year in taxes to about $84,000 in taxes. This is what you need to do. This is how much we're charging you. We charged $100,000 to do that, to save him over $2 million. Those numbers, that math is mathing. This guy says, I want my attorney to look it over and my CPA. And then if I want to do it, what's next? You sign the forms, send us your old tax forms, we'll amend them. And then either your current CPA can send them in or we'll send them in. Okay. 3 days later, you ready to get going? Actually, I realized because of all the stuff my dad left me, it's like 6 tax forms. And that's a lot of stuff to sign. I don't really have time to just be signing paper like that. So I'm just going to keep paying it. But you guys are really good at your job. So keep doing that and I'll see you later. Hung up. Absolutely no tax paying. But I think you and I both know it's like he didn't make any of that money. Why would he
Right.
care?
Right.
And his father probably, and this isn't a knock on his father, because his father passed wealth from the grave, as every good man should do to his children's children, right? But he didn't pass the wealth of knowledge of what the weight of a dollar is, what manual labor feels like, what missing a meal feels like.
Bro, you know what? Like that right there is a gem in itself, and we don't talk about it enough. So thinking about the work that we've put in to like really master our crafts,
Mm-hmm.
and the countless, like it's countless others that have that same drive that we have. But when we fail to truly secure the bag in the sense of making sure that there is generational instruction left behind. So it's almost like building that, structuring that the same way that you would structure a business, in the sense that there are roles and responsibilities to the continuity of this wealth. Like we're not just going to leave you with, you know, a playground of assets to fuck off. We're going to leave you with a portfolio and a management plan that governs how those resources are managed from a family enterprise perspective. Like we don't have that conversation enough. And it's like, go ahead.
It's probably because it's boring to us. And I'm speaking about Earl Harden, someone who reads boring books all the time to learn tax codes, to learn like little nuances with funding, retirement, all kinds of stuff like that. And is it boring stuff? Yes, but I get excited because I immediately know how I can help someone once I figure it out. So that's my driver, is serving others. But the first time a really intelligent black man tried to teach me about trust, I was like, I wasn't trying to hear it. I was like, bro, why are you telling me this? I'm broke. I'm trying to get to the cheddar like you. I'm like, you got 56 different properties. It makes sense you should have a trust because and I didn't even know trust operated in a space of protection and privacy. I just knew a trust could pass money forward. So I'm like, yeah, you want to pass that money forward to your kids and to your kids, like, but I'm not there and I wasn't trying to hear it. And then I start to learn how limited the limited liability company actually is in protecting you.
Mm.
If I asked you, Jesse, how much protection you get from a limited liability, from an LLC, what would you say?
Is the lines of accounting easily starts to break down that, like, it can be very limiting, and it's easy to what they refer to as pierce the corporate veil when it comes to accounting,
Mm-hmm.
where you don't have clear distinction between, all right, so for example, there is not a an American airline, not American Airlines, but an American airline carrier that owns the aircraft that they operate. There's a series of each plane is its own LLC, and that LLC is leased to the airline company. Same thing with Walmart and its trucks on the road. It's that same type of deal. The problem comes in when the entity that owns the plane or the truck that's on the road does not invoice Walmart, and Walmart doesn't pay that invoice as a bill. So now it's reported on Walmart's side that they paid for the truck, or it's reported on Delta Airlines side that they chartered this aircraft, and the aircraft is reporting that they received revenue from Delta Airlines, or the trucking company is receiving payment from Walmart. When that accounting ain't clear, that LLC mean the motherfucking thing. That's how much protection that a limited liability company provides.
Bro, that was so dope because the way you broke that down led directly into his tax strategy. Because a lease back is one of the biggest tax strategies that we use. And because of the big, beautiful bill, we use aircraft all the time where people will put down 20% on an airplane around and whatnot. And if they need to use it internally, we'll use a lease back, just like we'll use a building lease back um, for people that own property. And it can save you a phenomenal amount on taxes. So that was so dope how you broke that down. It led right into what could be a tax strategy if they know how to recognize it, if they've reconciled their books and they know how to code it the right way. So that LLC, even if you do everything perfectly, the answer is kind of however that judge feels in whatever county or municipality that you are getting sued in. That's how much protection you have. Let's assume you make a tiny error, then it's a goose egg and you have no protection. I think corporate veil has been pierced 93% of the time when we're talking about an LLC. And people will get a Wyoming LLC and think that nothing's going to happen to them. Well, it got pierced and you got sued in Iowa and the judge threw that out. And guess what? Because you saw a YouTube video talking about series LLCs, you bought a series LLC, which means you have all these different little sects what are just basically like a baby LLC. So you could have like different real estate in each one. You could have completely different entities in each one. But guess what? When that thing got pierced, now everything is public record. Everything. There is no way to be cheap on your way to wealth. There's no way to do it.
That's a bar.
You can't be cheap on your way to wealth. You have to have life insurance. You have to have an irrevocable trust. Now, whether that's grantor or non-grantor is nuanced, and we could talk about that. But you have to have a real trust. You have to have your corporate charters written correctly. You have to have these different agreements. You have to have a buy-sell plan in your
Why?
business because either death, disagreement, divorce, or what I'm missing one D, man. Um, lack of discernment can kill your business, and you're in a position where you need to get a partner out of that business. Like I got a client right now asking for $20 million to sell this mall in a very interesting area, and they want $20 million to sell this so they could buy a partner out. Why can't they just get them out in a simple manner? Because they never did a buy sell plan. So they got to pay him all this money. 13 million of that 20 million would go to buy him out. What lender would do that? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you $20 million so you can give the dude that you don't like and trust enough in your business $13 million. Yeah, let's do it. But
Oh man, bro. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and it's so afterthoughtish, but yet so vitally important. And the reason that I can say that it's so vitally important is because with every single one of my clients, we have had to put this together because they didn't have it before, because it was like, we don't need all that. That's too corporate. You know, we getting it out the mud. We don't need that. And it ended up biting them in the ass in the form of missed payroll. Right? Like when I say missed payroll, I mean it's the payroll is abusing the company because what they're paying in payroll is not producing value back in the form of revenue. So what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is an attendance policy. Like Earl, every single one of my clients, bro, every single one of them, we got to put together an attendance policy, and it wasn't even an afterthought for them prior to. It's just like, well, people just kind of show up when they show, they kind of leave when they, and this is in small businesses, right? Like they just dealing with these business owners are just dealing with it every single day. Like I might not have my whole crew in the morning, and if everybody don't show up, then I'm just going to have a little bit more of a hectic morning. And if they got to leave early for whatever reason, then my afternoon is just going to get a little bit more hectic. And it's like, bro, it don't have to be that way. So in that, just some real simple, cut and dry strategy, like when it comes to having an attendance policy. Defining your working hours, like having it documented, what your working hours are. Like that sounds like something that would just be like standard, like everybody has that defined. Wrong. Like a lot of businesses out here do not have clearly set working hours and schedules for people. Like you are expected to be here from this time to this time. So like that part is vitally important. Speaking about what constitutes justifiable overtime, because all overtime is not created equal. There is a such thing as positive overtime. If I'm going to spend overtime this week to get ahead on some work that labor has already been paid for, that's positive overtime. So how do we define that so that the team understands that? So that it's not just an automatic expectation that you just blow past the cutoff time for the day.
Yeah. Break that down for us. You said positive overtime being labor that's already accounted for in the future. Can you break that down for us?
No, already accounted for so both.
Already accounted for in the
It's
past.
both. So when the time that I'm paying for in labor has already been paid for by another customer, and I've gotten so far ahead with their work that I now have additional capacity, that labor has already been paid for by the current customer, but I'm working on the next customers. So now what the next customer paid for in labor is all profit, or the remaining balance of it is all profit. So
Got you by means of production. I'm picking it up, brother. We learning.
So, it's these things, it's like defining what constitutes positive overtime, because that influences attendance. Like it all ties together. Then getting down to like notification. So how do we expect for communication to flow? Define it. What does that mean? When somebody is going to be late, who do they need to call or text or email or whatever means of communication? What is their chain of command? Who do they need to talk to? When does that notification need to be made by? Like, what's the standard? Or do they may text this one person, and that one person may not tell this person, who may not tell that person, and now we got somebody that's missing in the morning, and it's like it's been no communication, and it has been communication, but it was broken communication because it was never a standard established to begin with. So who needs to receive the notification, and what does that look like? Then a point system, and this is the one that this portion always becomes like it's an art to convey the value of it, because it's so emblematic of a corporate structure that it prompts a certain level of resistance, where it's like, no, I'm not putting my people on a point system. And it's like, all right, so let's talk about that. What happens to your workflow when somebody call out last minute? Well, shit, man, and they can go hours on hours talking about the effects of somebody calling out last minute. All right, so let's take it even smaller. What happens when somebody show up 15 minutes late? Well, and they can go down the laundry list of all of the ways that somebody being 15 minutes late have negatively affected their business, but choose to do nothing about it, but to accept it and tolerate it. So breaking down what easy attendance point system looks like is, if you just like logically ask yourself, what is an acceptable amount of time or acceptable amount of days that somebody can miss in a year before they telling you that they don't give a damn about their job? Like, what is that acceptable amount?
Well, if I had to guess, knowing nothing about this, I would probably say they need to be there 80% of the time, because that's Pareto's law. So that's what I would guess. Is that anywhere close?
That's a good standard. No, it's subjective. Is relative to the business. That's the thing. So the science behind the business of the business is universally applied. However, it's always tailored to the business at hand, because everybody has a different standard. So for one person, it may be one business owner, it may be, if somebody missed 5 days, then Like that's like really. Another person may be like, 10 days. Somebody else may be 7. So that's going to vary from business owner to business owner. The point being, though, what is an acceptable standard for you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner? So if that standard is 5 days, then you get 5 points in a year. And you get a point for call outs. You get a half a point for coming in late or leaving early. And then the question becomes, so what is a reasonable expectation for the amount of time that someone should give before requesting time off? Like, is that a week? Is that 2 weeks in advance? Like, what's that expectation?
Right. So it's clearly defined.
Right. Because then we can schedule and we can plan around, we can't plan around emergencies and human shit that's going to happen. Like, obviously, those things happen and we just got to work around it. It is what it is. But if you know that you got some shit planned, then at least give us 2 weeks or a week or whatever that standard is for the business. All of these things are flexible to the business owner. Those aren't things that I push when I'm coaching with my clients. I'm not telling you that it should be. Now, if you say something that's completely left field, then I'm going to ask some questions for you to,
clarify.
recognizing yourself that's what you actually want. And after through those questions, if you decide that that's what you want, then that's what we going with, because it's your business. Like, you got to deal with the results of it. My job is to give you the foresight of what that looks like so that you make an informed decision. So, like, that's always going to fluctuate. But again, a point, it's not what it boils down to is the power of choice, because an individual makes a choice on their actions on a daily basis. So if they know that they got a certain amount of points in the course of a year, then they make decisions on if they want to accrue those points or not by just doing the right thing. Or if there is no standard, then they operate in that gray space. And in that gray space, the business suffers. The business owner suffers because they got to fill the gap. And it just becomes a continuous process. So that piece. And obviously the no call, no show has its own, so generally, that's like a 3 point. You're going to get 3 points when you get a no call, no show for the first one. The second one, like you kind of just giving your ass the kiss at that point. And it's like, is that somebody that you want to continue to invest in? I don't know. That's your decision to make as the business owner. But defining it one way or the other is completely invaluable. Then when it comes to breaks and lunch, like the 15-minute breaks or the lunches or what have you, if they're paid, if they're not paid, how all of that works, if somebody is entitled to unlimited smoke breaks, like these things, is all, like, none of it is rocket science, but people be so resistant to the idea of following corporate norms. And it's like, bro, it's not corporate norm. It's setting a clear expectation for the people that work for you. so everybody is operating on the same playing field, the same rules of the game, which is this be like, it's so wild, because when I talk to my clients and like we convey it to sports, and I'm not a sports guy by any stretch of the imagination, but what I do know is sports require the score to be kept, and they require there to be rules that administer how the game is played. And when you ask them, when you ask a business owner about the most random stats that apply to their favorite sports franchise or the rules that govern that game, they can recite all that shit back and forth. And it's sheer entertainment. Like, I get it. It feels good. You know, you see your people doing what they're doing. I get it. But you ask them about the scorecard for their business that they sacrifice for on a daily basis. Ask them about that scorecard. Deer in the headlight. Ask them about the rules that govern their business. Deer in the headlight. So I'm not here to badger, you know, beat nobody down. More so to motivate you to do better, man. It don't have to be that way.
Right.
So something as small as an attendance policy can be the difference in a whole lot of stress, either being endured or avoided altogether. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, nothing to be sorry about. You drop flames. And it just takes me to a place in my mind where it's the factor of the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. You will drop something like that on a client because I'll drop something similar on a client where I'm just like, hey, we're opening 3 bank accounts for you. How hard is it to open a bank account? It might take 20 minutes. But just by doing that little thing, we have way better control of their spending habits, their cash flow, and their taxes. Just doing that little thing. Wow, this is crazy. It's helped me so much. Why doesn't everyone do this? Or when they're giving me resistance, if this is so good, why doesn't everyone do it? Well, the gym works. Have you looked around Walmart lately? You can tell not everybody's going to the gym either. Just because it's simple to lift that weight, to walk on the treadmill, go to Pilates, go to Zumba, do whatever way you like to move your body. Just because it is a simple process doesn't mean that it's getting done. What's easy to do is easy not to do as well.
Big
So
facts.
those gyms, bro, I hope they're not taking that lightly. Just because it's something that didn't cost $1 million, you didn't have to train 3 agental AIs on how to do it. They didn't have to do a mastermind where they put keyword money in the chat. You just gave it to them. And if they actually apply it and implement it, we're going to look at significantly better cost of goods sold ratio, significantly better profitability to revenue. And then they have a tax problem because they're making that money. Look, you're giving real game out, my brother. Yeah. Did you have a short subject that you wanted to hit before we get out of here? Because I know we are right about at that time where we need to hop on our other publication.
Right. Nah, man, the grind is incredible because when I look at the people that I actually salute and respect for what it is that they built, the amount of sacrifice that they made to make that happen. And when I think about exactly what you just alluded to, how we getting ready to hop from this platform to the next platform, it's that investment. That's actually the better word, the investment. Like, that's what it is. You and I continue to invest into our respective and collective futures because I know what my days look like, and I have a good idea what your days look like. And what I can say to that is it's a lot of productive shit going on throughout the course of those days. A lot of stuff that, you know, the average person would not just naturally endure half of it on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
And
But that's probably because they don't have it connected to a goal. We've talked about it here on this podcast. If you are suffering and you don't have a clear vision of the exit and the significance of why you are suffering, how long are you going to suffer? How long are you going to be on that path? Whereas when you have a clear vision of what you get out of it, why you're doing it, and what the future looks like, and you know that it is just a step in your journey and in your personal evolution, that's when it goes from a sacrifice to an investment. Because it's already monetized in your head.
bars, bars, bars. Yeah. Talk about clippable moments.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Talk about clippable moments. No, so I want to leave our audience with that for this episode. The grind is absolutely worth it when you have a vision that you are materializing. And it don't always feel like progress is being made, but it is, because every experience is an opportunity to grow. And, absent those opportunities presenting themselves, where is the growth? We just become stagnant. And that is quiet, slow death. And ain't nobody got time for that. So as we get back to the core of what this here program represents, the asset class, maximizing the assets that are available to us, rather it be the plethora of financial trickery. Because again, it's recognizing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing the game. The United States tax code is a bunch of trickery. The way that the United States economy is structured is a bunch of trickery.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all out in plain sight. The game, the rules are published. It's all public access. The problem oftentimes is there are not enough, like in layman's terms, conversations being had about how achievable and accessible and actionable that all of this information actually is. And that's what we do here at the Asset Class, is close that gap. It's been my man Earl.
My guy Jesse.
It's been the Asset Class. Thank you for listening.